Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to round 7 of the Bahrain International Circuit. My name is ILT Indigo, and alongside me today is S15 Oliver. Welcome, mate. How's it going?
Oh, brilliant! After the race victory and last night, can't, and I mean Bahrain is such a fantastic circuit. Just can't wait to get Division One of the way with this race going up ahead. Look forward to 80 minutes of quali and then a good race in the end. Can't wait for it.
Me neither, mate. And I had a race around here on Sunday, which was alright for me, but at the end it didn't go well after I got hit after a massive concertina effect, because there was a big DRS train from the first lap all the way to the last lap. But you had it different because you had a bit of a gap behind you, didn't you?
Yeah. The first few laps, the opening start of the race was actually pretty fine. Actually, turn one was actually was all right. With and then the five of us with myself, Cassidy, Utkarsh, Mindful Wasp, Calvin, we all sort of had a DRS train going on. I was currently in the upper part of the DRS train. I was literally just minding my business, and then when the opportunity came, and then struck, and then of course the race planned out from there. And I mean, it was a fantastic race, and literally this track is just phenomenal when it comes to racing. Loads of side by side battles, so this should be a fun one tonight. Division One with 19 drive, well, actually 20 drivers, because there will be another driver coming in during qualifying. So yeah, full grid, just like last night. So yeah, fun one.
It is indeed another night race here in Bahrain, like it is in Qatar and Singapore too. And Bahrain became a night race since 2014 during the hybrid area season, and it's been the first race of the season in different years as well. I think 2006 it was the first race of the season. 2010,
2004. 2004 was
2004.
the first one.
Well, the first race of the season, or the first. You know what
It
I'm
was
talking about.
2004 was the very first race that Bahrain ever held its championship. So it was 2004 that this track came to the calendar, and Bahrain came to the calendar. So yeah, it's since 2004. Well, we're 20 years later. It's been phenomenal with racing. So yeah, I'll let you carry on with your stats of the circuit, because you've probably got more stats than I have. So
I'll continue with Ramovac as he's heading down towards the heavy braking zone of turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3. Nice complex of corners as well. Heavy braking zone up the hill. Make sure you don't wheel spin or anything like that. Short shift into turn 4 we go. Brake at the 100 metre ball. Flicking into this right hander here. Bring it out to the left hand side. Obviously be careful on traction as well, and be careful of track limits. So 28.7 in the first sector as we flick it away towards 6 and turn 7. Now headed down towards turn 8 as Oliver phone rings in the background. He goes a bit wide into turn number 8. It is such a difficult corner because you really want to get the power as quickly as you can, but sometimes down to turn 9 and turn 10 you can see there running a bit out wide. It is another difficult corner to get right too as you approach with such great speed in the Alfa Romeo. Now coming towards turn 11 we go, braking at the black box there, and he's down into third gear. I think he is up to fourth immediately on the exit. I think you want to carry the speed through fourth gear as we make our way down into turn 12 at flat out right hander, which used to have caused problems back in the olden games where people used to spin out the curb, but in this game you don't really see that anymore as we come down the back straight. Then we approach the final braking zone. Two corners merged into one, it must be said. This is a weird corner. Turn 15 is right here at the exit of it, and it is a difficult corner if you because of the tyres being hot. It's a 29.0, and that was my banker as well during my first lap around here in Bahrain 2. Martin, the driver behind Ramovac, is coming towards the line. He goes into P2 with a 29.2. I'm expecting pole to be about mid 28s, low 28s, I think. But I don't think nobody could get to 27s because only one driver in my session went to the 27s, and that was very quick indeed. As we see more drivers get on the timing sheets, Bear Remy is P4 now. Noldus replaces him and goes into P3. So CT Noldus, the Danishman, as MDJ goes into P1 with a 28.6, 4/10 clear of Ramovac as well. So kind of where you want to be in the early stages, as everybody else is in the 29s, as Draugen goes into P3 ahead of Martin with a 29.1, and next across the line was the McLaren of JDM to start his flying lap. So there's your lap times coming in. What was your best lap time in qualifying, Oliver?
it was a 29. I think it was a 29.2. I think it was. And I might need to have a look back on on last night's stream. But yeah, time starts flying in now. So right now they're currently faster than the pole time at the moment. So yeah, this is. I'll be anywhere nowhere near this lot when I go back into Division One, whenever that time comes. I'll never be anywhere near this lot. It would take me such hard work just to get anywhere near. But the main question is, can MDJ actually get a victory here tonight? He's leading the championship without a victory after Hazaru's dominating performance last week. So, can MDJ actually have a victory tonight? We shall see.
Very interested indeed, because he is leading the championship without a win, like you said, and the driver behind, Harry Kane, has got 2 wins, but is 6 points behind him. So that is very important. So consistency, it has been on MDJ's side, whereas Harry Kane's had a few difficult races back then as well. He had a great drive back in the Singapore Grand Prix, but elsewhere like Baku didn't go his way either, and also the Hungarian Grand Prix in Austria too, where MDJ's always been up there. JDM trying to pick up cheeky slipstreams off people as we head down towards the final 2 corners we go. This can be really tactical in terms of slipstream, because I got caught out in terms of slipstream. I gave somebody a slipstream as I finished my lap, and they started the lap. As you can see there, Jagemal goes into P2. What a great lap time from the Haas.
Yeah, and I just found out actually. I looked back on the stream about my quality times. It's 1:29.227. Martin in 5th place has literally matched my lap time exactly to the time. So that's very little fair play there for Martin. As Harry Kane starts his lap. This is a big lap for Harry Kane here with MDJ in P1. This is going to be very, very interesting to see how he lines up with this lot tonight. Let's see how Harry Kane does through turn 1. He took the first corner 3rd gear to try to minimise traction, so that's not too bad of a strategy from him there as he approaches turn 4. Let's see how he approaches it. There's a good 90-degree corner of the circle 4 away from you here. We see a lot of track limits in the real world of Formula 1, but not in this world, because these drivers are very well precise. Through the S's, beautiful section of corners here in sector 3. Then you got downhill braking going into the hairpin of turn 8, and all you go towards the most difficult corners in Formula 1, of the most difficult corners, turns 9 and 10. You're braking and turning at the same time. Easy to lock up the inside front, which Harry Kane has proved it there. So you can get a good exit down his back straight in the second DRS zone towards turn 11. He has got 2 half cars in front of him, but I don't think there'll be much of a bother. Tucks the car in 4th gear, climbs at the gears now towards turn 12, misses a flat out right-hander, now into turn 13. The circle falls away from you again, inside camber, brings the car wide to get the exit speed possible, now towards turn 14 and turn 15. 14 is a corner, 15 is just a very small kink on the exit. It's all about traction car at this corner. Beautiful exit. 125.6.7 to go. This is where he'll line up in P8. Harry Kane just behind his teammate. Very good. He's the first lap there from Harry Kane.
29.2, not far away from P2, which is currently 2/10 away. Jagemal showing some decent pace there in the Haas. So is CT Noldus here in Bahrain too. They tend to be in the lower end of the midfield, especially I remember in Baku with Jagemal. Ramavaj took pole back at the Hungarian Grand Prix, went on to win it too with that amazing one-stop strategy indeed. Talk about him, he's currently on his outlap, having to defend from, I think it was Laser and MDJ at the time, I think it was. Jerry Oiloglass is coming towards the final corner in the Alpine then, so let's see where Alpine put their car. Obviously in the real life F1 they started dead last, and here he is towards the line. It's P15 for him with a 31.1, so we'd dearly love to improve on that time to get amongst with the rest of them. Laser is currently out there on his outlap, leaving it quite late. Is Laser, he does like to go out quite late during qualified. I tend to change my strategies as well, because in my league race I have, the only one I have full qualifying, and I've really got to choose how I use my soft compound tyres. Look at Laser getting it all wrong at the final corner. That could have been very horrible indeed, because he could have validated before he even started this the next lap. So here comes Laser then on his flying lap. Will he be in the back foot already due to that final corner mistake as we head down into turn 1? Heavy braking zone, braking before the 100 metre board. He goes down to second. Some people like to go down into 3rd gear to use the rear lock in, as a way to get around the corner there. It is a tactic. Turn 3 with DRS. Up the hill we go, going down into turn 4, braking at the 100-meter board. Flip the car in, get as close to the apex as you can possibly can. He kisses on the apex as he goes into 4th. Bit of wheel spin on the exit as we go down into turn 6 and now turn 7. A bit of a wider angle through there, but thread the knees very nicely going down into turn 8. There's his teammate ahead of us. Will he give us a slipstream, I wonder, in the other McLaren? That's JDM currently out there on those medium compound tyres. It says he set his best lap time on the mediums, but I believe he's on the soft compound tyres now. Turn 9 and turn 10 as Glock goes quickest with a 28.4.
Oh, mate, Glock is on fire tonight with that Mercedes.
He is indeed. He's still searching for his first race win since Abu Dhabi last season. Here comes Laser up the hill then. I think he got a decent toe off his slipstream, off his teammate, sorry. And his middle sector is a 7.1, goes purple, but I'm not quite sure if it really indicates that. Look at turn 13. I think that's what some drivers have to do, you know, really cut that corner on the edge towards 13. But there is problems to that. You can either get it wrong, you either get it right or terribly wrong, because that corner can really upset the balance of your car and throw you off the track, but it looks like it suits it really nicely. So this lap looks decent there from Laser. It's going to be a 28.9. Decent first lap time for him.
So Glock has gone 2/10 quicker than MDJ on his first lap. MDJ is actually currently on the lap now. He just started his second run. This is his final, probably most likely his final run as well. So this will be very interesting to see how that goes. The comparison to the first sector, we're going to find out and wait and see. We also got Ramavaj now with the 29.0. Atlas Scope has just gone into P6 ahead of his team of Draugen. Very good lap from Atlas Scope right there. In case MDJ has just gone 68 hundredths of a second quicker than his previous time. That's the purple first sector. Looking pretty decent so far. Is it quick enough to Glock? We'll wait and see.
And Rogue Smithy has gone into P5. Decent qualifying for him after he made his return back in USA, but couldn't quite hook it up.
Harry Kane second.
Another decent lap time as Draugen goes into P5 in the AlphaTauri. Decent qualifying for him, so we're seeing more people appear in the 28s as Ramavaj goes into the 28s too. Back on board, who was it? I think it was MDJ now, going through the middle sector. He's currently 900ths up, almost a 10th up. This 10th won't put him on pole, so he needs to find a bit more time in this last sector. Both McLarens right behind of JDM. I think JDM's getting a slipstream off his teammate Laser, who'll pull out the way right now. On board with MDJ's Laser in the background, pulls out the slipstream to give his teammate a nice toe down the back straight, to give him more extra time. Here comes MDJ. What's he got on display? It's P2. Great lap time from him.
That is a very good solid lap, just misses out, but look at that, 28 hundredths of a second to Glock. That is a really, really good competitive time there for Glock. Just keeps MDJ just at arms, or just a finger's width away from that elusive pole. So Bahrain's just completed a lap, I think, as he has. He's done a 28.6. What's got down there? Rogue Smith, he's completed the lap. JDM. He's completed the lap, so we've pretty much gone on to the final runs now. How's Martin going on? Martin's is a 10th up and going into sector 3. So let's see how Martin gets on. He wants to get a little bit more close to his team now, I think, it's Martin, just to keep it a little bit more feisty in the Mercedes camp.
I think he started in the P11 at the USA Grand Prix last week. Let's see what it is for him as he makes his way now towards the line in that Mercedes. It's going to be P11 again. So we call him Hulkenberg. Could be P11 consistency this time for Martin. I remember the start from Esteban Gutierrez back in 2016 when he qualified and finished in P11. I'm on board with Nordis. His car seems to be teleported all over the place. The Norwegian driver, I think he's Norwegian or is he Danish? I can't remember now. Yeah, I didn't see the flag before, but he is my leader in Star Wars, so can't get it wrong. And he's 2 and a few hundreds up. In the middle sector is the Aston Martin driver, so he's looking to get himself in the 28s. And if he does get himself in the 28s, that'll be P7 or P8, depending how much more time he can find. But look at the gaps between Laser, Draugen, only 2,000 separate him, with Bahrain just filled up with a few hundreds in hand. Here comes Nordis towards the line now. It's going to be a 28.9. He goes into P6 ahead of both of them.
Very good solitary lap for Nordis. But you just referenced Esteban Gutierrez. Do you remember Esteban Gutierrez in 2014 when he got flipped by Pastor Maldonado into turn 1?
Yeah, I do. 10 years ago. Wow. Unbelievable.
Whoa, what was that? It's a Maldonado.
Yeah, I remember that. It's like Maldonado came out of the pit lane and just tapped Gutierrez, which caused him to flip around.
What the year of the most ugliest cars in Formula One, which we'll never see again.
Yeah, the Caterham and the Marussia's nose, the Toro Rosso nose as well. Yeah, they were. I like 2014, but the cars were ugly, like you said. It was a brand new season, brand new turbo hybrid era, with both Red Bulls having problems with their engine power units. And yeah, it was a criticised year that was 2014, with a lot of people not happy. Sounds like vacuums, but I think we all got used to it now.
I quite like this year generations of engines. They have got a lot, but I pretty much got used to the V6 hybrids now. But in my era, when it comes to V8s, that's my favourite era is the V8 engines. They actually sing. They actually have a character because they sound. My mum described it as screaming cats on the telly, and this is more like what I'm trying to figure. How do you describe the V6 hybrids? How would you describe them?
The roaring engine.
uh, Pretty much basic simples. Right, Laser has started his lap. This is his final run to see if he can get anywhere near the top five.
I also remember Carlos Sainz punted into Lawrence Stroll at turn 1-2. As Dora says, evening lads, good evening to you, mate. Good evening to you, Thomas Thorpe as well. Nice to see you back in the stream, Thomas. Obviously an outsider. He's on the PC side, I think, of things. He doesn't really play the F1 game. He's a fan of F1, but doesn't really play it. As Laser heads down, it's turn 8. Didn't really see his first sector, so we'll stay on board with him as majority of drivers are starting to come on the pit lane for their final laps. So we're going to see a lot of traffic as well. I don't think there's a lot of time left either, so these drivers are about to get a move on the ones who's just getting the pit lane right now. There's only one driver in the pit lane, which is I think it is Norris, because Martin and the Ferrari are starting to come out. Zedam down to P18 with a 30.1, and now we've got Laser climbed up the hill towards turn 12. It was a difficult corner. Norris is retired in the pit lane, so he won't be continuing. But Laser is 4 tenths up in the middle sector, so he's found a lot of time. He might pick up a decent tow from the RB car ahead of us. The RB car gets out of the way before the final corner. Sorry, I meant AlphaTauri, as Laser comes towards the final 2 corners. Let's see what lap time he can set. And as he crosses the line now, is it going to be pole? Is it going to be near pole? It's P4. That is so close between P1 and P4.
Evening to you, Doran. Is Oliver still buzzing over his win? Yes, I'm still buzzing off my first victory of the season. Thank you very much for that, Doran. We'll bypass that right now because that was last night. This is tonight. This is Division 1 tonight. So Glock is doing another run. Interesting. Will he do it at 28.3, I wonder? MTJ still in the current on that lap. So let's see if Glock can actually improve, because he's currently on pole right now, but with MTJ just lucky behind, it's going to be very, very close for pole.
It is indeed. If I was in this lobby, I would be on pole because but yeah, these guys, let's see if they can improve to get closer towards the 28.0 mark. Draugen is going to be the first driver to cross the line to finish his flying lap. He's currently down into turn 9 and turn 10, the difficult corner that is. Turn 8 is a difficult corner. It's a slow speed corner, but at the same time the front end can wash away if you carry a lot of speed. The car will over rotate on you. As we go down into turn 11, we go into 4th gear, carrying the speed up. He lost the back end, he spins. He's spun, unfortunately, has Draugen, and that's his lap time ruin. That can be a very difficult corner too.
MTJ didn't make it. MTJ did not make it to the line.
He's just crossed the line, has he? Is he finished?
No, he did not make it. He was in the final sector, in the final pass of sector 2. All his drivers on that lap did not make it. So this is the last laps.
Can see a few cars quite close together. Hopefully none of them get affected, but they left it quite late, and some of them haven't made the line. Glock is around the final corner. Can he take pole here in Bahrain? Yes, he can. It's a 28.2. Finally, somebody got there. It would have been so close between me and Glock if we were in the same race. But let's see who else can improve up there. Langfell has gone up into P6 in the Alfa Romeo. He scored some decent points back at the Singapore Grand Prix. Smoke into P16 in the Haas. I'm on board with Ramovage, but there's a Red Bull coming towards the line. Is that Hurricane? It's
Ramovage is backed off. Ramovage is backed off, so he's not going to improve.
And we saw Berimi. He's coming towards the line now with a 28.8. He goes into 8th place. Draugen in P10. Obviously, we saw him who struggled. Rogue Smithy in P9. The Ferrari behind us, is that Lord Danny Boy in P16? Yes, it is. What about Atlas? He's in the pit lane. He did improve in the middle sector, but has decided to back off and go in the pit lane. So there it is for qualifying. Glock is on pole, and the top 2 are still searching for their first race win.
Wow, wow, wow. What a qualified. Rogue Smithy P9. Did not expect that from Rogue Smithy tonight. he's not very happy in the chat, to say the least. NDJ said his wheel stopped working, and so the AI wouldn't take over. So NDJ has wheel problems going into this race. Hopefully that's not going to go into the actual main race. Luckily, he's Hamilton qualified, so that's a bit of a bummer there for MDJ right there.
It is. I'll hop to the toilet, then I'll be back. So let's see then how the race will go. It's going to be a 29 lap race. Is it 29 laps? I should know because I raced it on Sunday. I am back, and Glock was on pole ahead of MDJ, but hopefully sorted his wheel issues around here. Very important indeed for his championship aspirations because he's only a few points ahead of Harry Kane, who's second in the championship. Glock is P3 in the championship, with Laser outside the top 3 in 4th place. Bearimi in 5th with Martin in 6th place. Mackett in 7th, and don't think Mackett is here tonight. Draugen 8th ahead of Atlas. Samid in P10. Samid's not here tonight, so Noldus could pick up some good points and put himself inside that lucrative 10th place. Lord Danny Boy in 12th ahead of Langfeld. Yagamal in P14. Ramavaj 15th place, unexpectedly after winning a Grand Prix, but he hasn't really turned up to some Grand Prix. The last 4 races he hasn't turned up in Monza, Azerbaijan, Singapore and USA, so that's why he's down there in 15th place. JDM in 16th with Xenom in 17th, Sonic Hawk in 18th, Smoke in 19th, and Rugsmith currently last in the championship. And it's really important as well in terms of constructors because Mercedes are leading ahead of Red Bull, but Williams in 3rd place, and they're about 31 points away from Mercedes in the championship. And even though the driver in the Williams is leading the championship, in terms of constructors, it's really critical that Rogue Smithy joins his teammate as well up there in the championship to score the points they need to try and dethrone Mercedes and Red Bull. So it's a very important battle going on in the top 3 with both their teammates in Red Bull and Mercedes doing well. But in terms of the Williams camp, one driver is performing whilst the other is currently having their own issues with driver bans, etc. as well. So really important that both Williams drivers get inside the top 10 and get the results they need to try and get first in the championship, because AlphaTauri are only 2 points behind Williams in the championship as well. So there's a battle for P3 going on, and their drivers, I think it is Draugen's in the Red Bull, I think it's Atlas in the AlphaTauri as well, so he's only about 78 points he's got on the mark. But yeah, the constructors fight is looking really close as well, and I can't wait to see how the race goes here at Bahrain, because we'll see a lot of battles going on, especially in the first sector as well, as someone's messaging me about this league as well, looking like they want to join, and they recognise my voice too because they used to commentate them or race with them a long time ago.
So I just been Rogue Smith. He's very worried about being with beside JDM. He said he scares the living daylights out of him going into this event. In the general chat. Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting one. But what you just said there, with one is performing, the other one is still finding his way up the field. It's going to be very interesting to see it with the constructors fight. And of course, the drivers' championship. This is a very, very close Division 1 this season. I really enjoyed every second bit of it. To be commentating with you, Jamie, it brings the excitement as well. Oh, we're for a very exciting season, going towards the end of it, and towards Silverstone at the end. But this is an exciting Bahrain Grand Prix coming up. Lap one is going to be very, well, chaotic, especially the first four corners, because, well, that one, first four corners of Bahrain, especially in this sort of scenario, it can turn very well or not very well. So it's going to be a very, very, very interesting event.
Wow. So, everybody, barring first place,
my word,
is on the soft compound tyres, and I tell you what, I don't think the softs at this stage is the best way to go, considering that the track is green on heavy fuel, and yeah, the soft tyres in general is going to be a really difficult tyre to manage, because usually from hards to soft you take the hards about 19-20 laps before you put on the soft compound tyres. The tyres are fragile around here, tyre wear is high, such an abrasive circuit too, this Bahrain Grand Prix, it really does punish you. So Glock on the soft compound tyres has completely gone the different way, and the chance for a safety car is quite high. But saying that though, 20 drivers who raced on Sunday, including myself, no safety car or VSC. It was a really good race, and we were all bunched up in this DRS trade, and we chose different strategies. I decided to go for hards to mediums because I thought it was the best way to go, but turns out I got absolutely, I'm not going to say the word, but yeah, a lot of people caught up to me in the end because they went from hards to softs, and really ruined my race as well. A chance of a podium / winning was gone due to that strategy not working out. Some people went from mediums to hards, which is alright, but it's not the best way to go. Mediums to softs can be really difficult too. Soft and medium is really difficult to go to as well. It's all about tyre management. If you go soft medium or medium soft, it's really difficult to manage your tyres. It is a one-stop strategy around here, but let's see how much dividends his strategy pays in the opening stint. He's really got to pull away from those guys, because if he gets stuck in that DRS train, Glock, if he can't pull a second towards second place behind, he's going to find himself in a difficult position on those soft compound tyres and won't be able to make up the gap he needs towards the end to have that gap before those guys pit again and catch him up later on in the race. So he's the only one of the soft compound tyres, and this could show some interest in this race then.
It's really interesting to see how this all plays out. But if Glock needs an almighty getaway from this start position, and he needs to pull like what, mostly a probably around 10-second gap, so he can really try and minimise the damage in the pits. But the rest of the guys, like you said, it could be hard to medium, it could be hard to soft, it could go any way down the time management. Battles could be all over the place. We are in a phenomenal race. This is all yours, Jamie.
Thank you very much, mate. It's going to be a long run down to turn number 1, and it's very easy to outbrake yourself as well, kind of a lot of speed, and on cold tyres and cold brakes. There are the lights, 4 or 5 lights, and we're ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix is go. Round 7 is away. Looks like Glock got a decent start, as you expect, covered the inside line to ensure that MDJ does not go down the inside, but he moves back into the racing line, and he stays in first place as we head down to turn 1. MDJ is defended from Harry Kane, who's got Ramavaja around the outside, but gets a decent exit out of turn 2 and turn 3 to stay ahead. There's a crash and a spinner in the background. That's Draukun. Draukun's down into 19th place already, unfortunately, after having such good last races in the past, and he's down into last place already then, unfortunately. I'm quite sure what happened to him, but Roguesmith is now ahead of Bear Remy. He puts himself up into 8th place in that Williams, and looking like he's making progress so far, as Mackett did join and leave the party, thankfully, like we didn't speak either. As we got down the inside goes Bear Remy on the Williams driver. Can he make it stick? You can see the back of the car complaining as he tries to go down the inside. Heavy fuel, of course. Track is at green. Didn't get the traction he needed, but down into the tricky zone at turn 9 and turn 10. There's a constitutive effect as all the drivers bunch up together and try and overtake each other. But climbing 5th and 6th, doing a great job as well. JDM as well, doing a great job in P6. Usually,
I was to say, yeah, JDM had a fantastic start from P7, now up to P6 behind his teammate. Now, what JDM needs to do, he's not been very having the best of times for him in Division 1, but right now, this is what I would do. Follow the lines of your teammate, follow the lines of your driver, follow the lines. What you do, copy what they do. That's what JDM needs to do. Get into a rhythm and then literally make your attack known. But Langfell is literally not going to make that happen. He's going to try and make Julian's life an absolute living hell at the moment to try and pressure the McLaren driver into a mistake. But it's a very clean start, which is nice to see.
or Bahrain 1 with Dragon down into P19. He's currently in the pit lane to get rid of those hard compound tyres and probably change his wing. There he is, and a long race from there, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauri driver. And obviously we saw Lawrence Stroll and Nico Hulkenberg make contact to turn 1 as well. Probably had a broken wing. He's on the medium compound tyres. Is Dragon hoping for a safety car at least, but the timing sheets needs to sort themselves out as we're all settled into this big DRS train. Then let's see how the games begin between all these drivers. It looks like Glock has able to pull that 1 second gap away from MDJ. Very crucial as well, and especially utilising the 2-lap rule of DRS. No DRS in the first 2 laps rule. He can also pull away while he has the chance, because if DRS was enabled immediately like it is in 2024 at the end of lap 1, could be in real trouble as well breaking that DRS. But luckily the 2 rule is still here in the F123 game, and the gap is 1.2, so it's really stabilising between MDJ and Glock. MDJ not allowing Glock to pull away, which could really hurt him later on in this race for Glock's sake. And Harry Kane's also about 2 seconds away from MDJ, so MDJ's got some strong pace here tonight to keep a contention of Glock and pull away from Harry Kane at the same time. Harry Kane's got a lot to think about with Ramavaj and the 2 McLarens behind him as well, with his teammate Langfeld doing a good job. So Alfa Romeo are currently having a good race so far, and hopefully they can keep it up as lap 3 enables. DRS is enabled, Glock sets the fastest lap of the race, but you can't really seem to pull a big gap over MDJ in that Williams, as Harry Kane's under big pressure there from Ramavaj, but I don't think no moves are being made into turn 1. But if MDJ can get himself a DRS, it's a real headache from here for Glock.
Yeah, so Rogue Smith, he's trying to get all over Langfeld's gearbox at the moment. Ramavaj is looking, not at the moment, but the drivers are all playing safe at the moment. So right now, all these drivers trying to get into a nice rhythm, and until the main straight comes on, then we'll see some overtaking. So right now, very stable so far. Glock is just pulled out another 3/10 on MDJ. MDJ won't mind that. He'll be actually pretty happy with his opening lap stint on the hard tyres, who's another good 2.2 ahead of Harry Kane. So right now, very, very clean start, to say the least. The McLarens are line is stable. They're having a good race at the beginning. Let's see how that pans out to the end with no mistakes. Williams, Rogue Smithy, he can try, and Rogue Smithy had a big step of oversteer at the exit of turn 11. But he saved it just about, and Bahrain was sniffing around to see if he can get a little sniff past the Williams. But Langfeld is literally all over the gearbox of JDM with laser on the back of Ramavaj and Harry Kane. Ramavaj could take P3 from Harry Kane here.
Yeah, Harry Kane is under big pressure because he's got no DRS ahead of him as MDJ's just checked out away from him. Here he is. Ramavaj pulls to the right hand side and he overtakes Harry Kane with ease with a helping hand with the DRS. He overtakes before the breakers. So here comes Rogue Smithy on the inside of the Alfa Romeo. Now McLaren, sorry. That is JD, but I thought he would get 2 for 1 with the amount of overspeed he had. Bit of contact. I saw this back in Sunday's race where they tried to squeeze each other out. It takes the DRS outside for good measure too. So both former teammates almost wiping each other out. Here comes the Red Bull of Bahrain trying to come up the inside of Rogue Smithy too. But actually, it was Langfeld who split up both McLarens. He's up into P6 as JDM fell down to P7 and defended from Rogue Smithy. So both McLarens are now split up, 5th and 7th, as the 2 guys tried to go at it in turn 3, but almost wiped each other out in the process. They were very close, very lucky to spin.
We've seen this before, and with now Atlas Scopus had a spin, so AlphaTauri not having the great day in the office. But we have seen this before in USA. Rogue Smithy and JDM, they've been very close all race long. Well, the first part of the race, I really enjoyed the battle between Rogue Smithy and JDM. Now it's round 2 between these guys, and it's getting a little bit forceful out there. They need to be mindful of space, braking, and the turning points going for now on, because this is going to turn into a very, very spicy battle. And look at Laser on the back of Harry Kane. Harry Kane wants that position back for Ramavaj.
Indeed, Ramavaj, who raced at the Hungarian Grand Prix, was under pressure from Laser himself, being hunted down by the victory, but this time it's 3rd place. And here comes Harry Kane, re-overtaken, and here comes Laser. Will they make it 3 abreast on the straight? In the background, that's JDM versus Rogue Smithy again. But as we go down into turn 1, Harry Kane is ahead of Laser for the time being. What's going to happen into turn 1 between these two again? Rogue Smithy versus JDM, and these two getting close last time, but this time finally made it out cleanly as they forced each other off the track. But this battle will continue all race long with these guys in the DRS zone. 3 DRS zones. Down the inside goes JDM on Rogue Smithy again, but Rogue Smithy has the outside line and better traction, and he stays ahead of his former teammate for the time being. Both in the AlphaTauri, and talk about AlphaTauris, they're down in last place, unfortunately, down in 18th and 19th places. As you can see, JDM under massive pressure from Bahrain right behind. Not really the sort of place you see Bahrain. He's up there challenging for the podiums and wins, but this time he's in P9 in the lower end of the midfield at the top 10. And he's Nordis has just tapped him as well, going down into turn 9 and turn 10. And now Martin, who's starting in 11th place, still in 11th place, is putting big pressure on Nordis ahead of us, but the DRS will keep him intact. However, the top two, MDJ, has kept Glock in his sights. The gap is only about 1.8, so it's looking good for MDJ so far. Keep up with the pace of Glock, as on those soft compound tyres. I presume he saved those in qualifying. Did Glock, instead of going from soft to hard, he went from hard to softs, hoping to utilise them in this early stint of the Grand Prix and pull away. But he can't really pull a big gap over MDJ, who's keeping pace with him. In a few laps' time, at about lap 9 or 10, we'll see MDJ's tyres be better than the Mercedes driver. And here comes Laser again on Harry Kane. These guys will continuously swap and trade DRS all the race long. And Laser puts himself up into P3, trying to score a podium after missing out on the last few
big
races.
fight in the midfield. Big fight in the midfield. That's Bahrain, JDM, Rogue Smith, and Nolders and Martin. Four-way fighting for positions here.
And you can see Bahrain swooped around the outside of JDM, and Martin is up into P10 now, ahead of Nolders as well. So great fighting between all four of them. And they sort themselves out going down into turn 4. Both Aston Martins close together as well. I haven't mentioned one driver at all, which is Burmeister in P12, making a return. He finished in P7 last year here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Season 14 it was, and here he is making a turn again. Nolders once again hitting the back of somebody, and he got tapped by his teammate, by Burmeister. So him teleporting is not doing any justice whatsoever, because I think he's lagging. I think he's teleporting back and forth. Is the Aston Martin driver who takes out the nose cone as well. Not the nose cone, the bollard. The cone. Yeah, the cone managed to get it spot on that time. But yeah, he takes out the cone too. He's down his 30th place, so people are just bumping and barging past him. It hasn't really helped him whatsoever. He's outside the top 10 now at 30th place. Had great pace in qualifying, but got a bit messy in the race. I don't know if he has any from wind damage. And talk about wind damage, Draugen had to pit twice. He's down in P19. I think when he pitted first, he didn't have his thing to say yes to change his wing. He put it on auto, and he didn't change his wing because I don't think his full wing damage was sufficient enough to get a replacement. And Harry Kane is in P3 ahead of Laser. And what will Ramavage do? He's got a lot of overspeed on the McLaren, and the McLaren driver will lose 2 places in the process, going down into turn number 1. However, the big news is, as JDM now gets overtaken by Burmeister, that wasn't the big news, but the big news is MDJ has caught up to the back of Glock. He's now in DRS range, so that's earlier than expected. So Glock could be under massive pressure and will probably regret it going into the soft tyres. As down the inside goes Rogue Smithy, he puts himself up into P6 ahead of Langfeld. Great move, and the Williams is on the charge.
I like this from Rogue Smithy, making his positions known, making himself a presence. Now needs to catch up to the top 5, which is only 1.8 away. But the other news is MDJ, with his incredible pace for them and sticking behind Glock, he's around 4 seconds of having Harry Kane. And in this league, I'm paying big, massive dividends. Harry Kane does need to put his foot down, but it's a little bit difficult when he's got no DRS. So right now, MDJ is looking pretty strong at the moment in the early stages, with Glock's tyres starting to fade away.
Also notice that Glock has used, MDJ has used a lot of EOS as well. You can see the car derating if you look closely in the back of that Williams. It was derating, but let's see his EOS data, 70%. So yeah, he's used a lot of EOS trying to close in the Mercedes of Glock and sacrifice that EOS too, whereas Harry Kane's got 73%, so that's probably why MDJ's pulled away as well. And now he's got DRS to the back of Glock. Let's see if he'll go for a move going down into turn 1. He is close enough, but let's see if he goes for it. Yes, he does. He goes up into P1 ahead of the Mercedes driver as he tries to fight it. Will Glock get a better line going through turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3? So Ramavage gets tapped by the Red Bull. Maybe lots of severe brakes going into turn 1. But Glock is right behind MDJ. Will he go for a move? In the background I can see a McLaren driver of JDM trying to go for it on Lord Danny Boy. Lord Danny Boy secretly and quietly made up some place as well. Langfeld's back on Rogue Smithy. He puts himself back into P6. But Rogue Smithy gets a decent exit now. He's alongside the Alfa Romeo. As we go down into turn 6 and turn 7, Rogue Smithy gets back past the Alfa Romeo. Great driving indeed from the Canadian Liverpool driver.
I love this from Rogue Smithy. I love this driving. Ever since that race ban, he's been looking pretty strong. This is right now one of his stronger races. We got a yellow flagger. Who's that for? That's for JDM. JDM is spun. And it's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. I think he can appeal that. I think he can. But Lord Danny Boy, I have to say, he's having a good, quiet, swallowed race at the moment. Looking pretty strong in that Ferrari. He's been having a struggle recently, but this is looking very strong at the moment for Lord Danny Boy. Smoke is in there too. He's been very doubtful going to this race. And I'd say that, and Lord Danny Boy makes a little mistake in turn 11, and that will lose a place to Goldust. So right now, and look at Glock on 7-lap old Sauce. He's on the back of Glock for MDJ for the lead.
I wonder when Glock will decide to pit, and he's doing a tactical man as well. He pulls to the right hand side to cool his engine down all the race long, and the engine can overheat as well in the fast speed, slow speed corners. As Hurricane is right behind Ramavach, he puts himself back into P3. So these guys are just trading DRS. You don't want to fight during this stage of the Grand Prix. You just want to follow each other. It's a high speed game of chess. You just want to keep trading DRS and slingshot each other back and forth. Martin's up to P9 ahead of Burmeister, and you can see Noldus is caught up to this battle despite being dropped into P13. So he's gone from P13 back up to P11 after having some good pace. He did get swallowed up by Martin, his teammate, after hitting the back of him, but it doesn't look like he sustained any front wing damage, has the Aston Martin on Noldus, so he's got away for the time being. Jaigamal from is in P16 right behind Zenum. He puts his Haas up to 50th place, or almost, because he's going wheel to wheel with the Ferrari driver, but has to give way. And I think Yaikama had a great qualifying too. It's P12. I think in the early stages he had a great qualifying, but got dropped down once these guys completed their final lap time. So he started P12 down into P15 right now. But Dragon from P11 to P19 didn't have a great qualifying either, did Dragon, because he has some good pace in the last few races. Scored a few podiums now and then. After the Austrian Grand Prix has shown some tremendous pace.
JDM's let out. I'll try and invite JDM in.
Yeah, as Dragon had some really good pace after the Austrian Grand Prix in the early rounds, but in this race, it looks like he's struggling for the time being. We don't know what his true pace is because obviously he's the back of the field and out of sync with anybody. But here comes Glock on MDJ. The DRS is helping him keep in contact with MDJ despite the tyres dropping off probably at this stage. You can see MDJ defending the inside line. He knows that MDJ has got a massive tyre advantage now as he's in front of him on the harder compound tyre. So he's got him at an advantage where he needs to be in PU2. And Glock, all he could do is just fight MDJ as much as he can before the pit stops start happening. And Burmeister is ahead of Martin, so this is a good battle for P9 as Yagamal has overtaken JDM, who's lagged out of the session unfortunately. He had a great qualifying session, but that spin at turn 8 really did cost him and put him down the field. And he said to us in the party that might be a lap down, but he did a great job in P6, but unfortunately that spin just put him back. And Ramavach going deep into turn 8, I don't think Hurricane overtook him. I think he just was in front of him already and he just went wide himself. And that is a difficult corner, turn 8, because you carry a lot of speed through there, especially the dirty air. It's easy to go out wide and the car just washes away on the front end of the car. You just don't have enough rotation to just turn the car in with the amount of speed you're carrying.
So I think what Glock's tried to do here with MDJ here, he's tried to keep within the DRS range of MDJ and try to produce more of a gap to Harry Kane. It could work, but it also could play not working as well, because look at this, Harry Kane is literally lighting up the screens at the moment. He's now underneath 3 seconds behind Glock, so right now he's actually gaining. So I don't think Glock's tactic is working, because due to the fact the soft tyres are literally coming towards the end of their life now. So Harry Kane could bring, what's this? Ramavach, you could bring Laser into this fight. This could be a 4-car scrap for the lead here.
Obviously Glock is the outlier of that battle, and Rogue Smithy's dropped to 2 places. He went from P6, I can't really, there we go, don't know what happened there, but as we head down through turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3, Langfell got ahead of, he had a big mistake. Here comes Bahrain, and here comes Rogue Smithy then. So Langfell gained a place and lost a place immediately, as here comes Rogue Smithy up the inside of Bahrain, but doesn't quite make the move. Bahrain was actually last in this trio before turn 1. Now he's in P6 thanks to the mistake of Langfell, and Rogue Smithy dropping backwards. He's up into P6 as Bahrain then. So on the charge is the Red Bull driver, as obviously we saw him join Red Bull back at the Baku Grand Prix, partnered with Harry Kane, and so far looks to be a decent partnership with both Red Bulls there delivering some results they needed to fight the championship. They're currently second in the championship with both Red Bulls, with Mercedes in P2 and P10. Looks like Red Bull have got a higher upper hand so far, but in the background we saw Burmeister getting out of shape into turn 10 and turn 9. Turn 9 and turn 10, sorry, but Martin's not able to make the move as Norris in the background continues to lag out, unfortunately, in the Aston Martin. He's still in this battle for P9, even though he dropped away for a bit, but after these guys continuously squabbling inside the top 10, or just outside of it, is brought him back in contention to confine himself in P9. So it's a big battle for P9 so far in the lower end of the midfield, and Glock pulling to the right hand side, just cooling his engine down, breaking the slipstream, because engine overheating is a really big issue here around here too, and you don't have a lot of power either. Once your engine overheats, it doesn't deliver the full power, as I experienced in my past time racing here.
So yeah, Glock again pulling out to the outside. Burmeister and Martin are fighting now. Side by side they go. Going into turn 2. Martin just gets ahead on the outside. He goes Norris around the outside of his teammate. Almost blocking wheels there, but it's all okay. Rogue Smithy's now fighting with Bahrain. He's going to the S section. Who's going to get ahead? It's the Red Bull driver. Bahrain defended pretty well there. So yeah, so going to the previous lap, Langfeld did spin up the rear tyres going out of turn 3, and then lose those 2 positions to Bahrain and Rogue Smithy. So right now, very, very, very close Bahrain Grand Prix here. Noldis is all over the back of his teammate, swerving left to right, trying to get past his teammate here. This is looking very, very interesting.
It is indeed, and Burmeister had the upper hand of his teammate a few laps ago. Noldis is back in contention, and these three made contact as well. The previous laps as well died into turn 3 when Noldis hit the back of Martin and Burmeister pushed him out of the way, so it was a constituted effect between those three. JDM and Zeno having their own scrap. JDM is back in the session with the only driver who having a penalty on the grid so far, and the only driver on the soft compound tyres.
Glock's coming in.
But I say, because he's dropped out the 1 second range of DRS, he started to lose performance on those softs. The other Mercedes driver regrets going on the soft compound tyres on the start of the Grand Prix. That's the big question. He's on the medium, so he's going from soft to medium.
That's a 2-stop. It's either a 2-stop or potentially for a safety car, because those would not go to the end of the race. They'll go up, 12, 13 laps? Most?
It can't be a 2-stop. He can't do a 2-stop. He'll lose too much time. I think it's a 1-stop, but he's going to really stretch those mediums out towards the end. The tyre life on those mediums is not as bad as predicted, I don't think.
It could be. And then Martin still defending for Burmeister. Side by side they go. And look at this. Noel is trying to sneak in, but didn't get the traction he needed. So Martin still sticks ahead of these two Aston Martin drivers. The Astons need to work together here if they want to get a good position over Martin here. They need to work together.
Yeah, there's a massive field spread at the moment with separate gaps inside the top 10 as well as for the whole field, and these guys are fighting a lot. They need to work together to try and stay in this DRS trade, and you can see in the background that is Noldis who went out deep into turn 9 and turn 10. A lot of people misjudging their braking zone turn 9 and turn 10 because like Oliver said, you're braking and turning at the same time. It's such a difficult corner too, as I fear going into that corner my rear is locking up all the time, and that is such a pain as well down into turn 9 and turn 10 because DRS is there too. And if you get the mistake, if you get that corner wrong, the cars behind will pounce on you with that DRS as well.
So Kotal's lap 14 now, out of this race now, so the hard tyres will slowly starting to fill their way. And look at this, Rogue Smith, it's now up to P5 now, with Langfeld on the inside, with a big leg breaking everything from Langfeld. Rogue Smith is trying to fight this, but great drive for Langfeld to get out of that. But here goes Rogue Smithy. Can he get a launch down into turn 4? This is going to be very close. Rogue Smithy down the inside, though. Yeah, Langfeld covers them off. Good driving there for Langfeld.
Indeed it was. Those three having a good battle there. Langfeld, Rogue Smithy and Bahrain. They're in their own personal scrap for P5. Langfeld also driving a good race. I mentioned he had a good race, I think it was back at the Monza Grand Prix or USA Grand Prix, I think it was. It looks like he's on form so far, as Langfeld showing some potential pace. Is the Alfa Romeo driver from TNR as well. TNR have got a lot of drivers as well. It is a Norwegian team. I think it is. And in the background, you can see the Aston Martin, Mercedes, and Aston Martin all squabbling for position for P9. But
Look at
let's see Glock.
Yeah, I want to say Glock overtaking Smoke. This is what, a 7-car fight for the low end of the top 10 here. So this is could turn into something really interesting. Glock is absolutely flying here.
As expected, he can't afford to be stuck behind these guys. He has to make the move whilst on the medium compound tyres. He's trying to bring the gap down towards MDJ. He cannot afford to be stuck behind these guys, and that's very important too, to dispose the Aston Martin going wheel to wheel, as Glock is later to the brakes, has better tyres, has better grip on the brakes there. And now let's see if he can try and... There's his teammate pulling to the pit lane. That is Martin pitting quite early on the hard compound tyres, so that'll be harsh to mediums I suspect, as Glock sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix then. As the Glock's next target is Burmeister 2. He has the DRS as Burmeister does lock up into turn number 1 here. But this could be a very interesting strategy fight. I think MDJ is going from hards to softs, and we'll see, because Glock will have a massive undercut. The undercut around here is very powerful, so Glock will rejoin ahead of MDJ. It all depends though. Let's have a look at this battle for P8. Here comes Glock up the inside. Good move indeed, and wasn't wasting any more time than he had to.
I'll tell you what, that could have really gone any better there for Glock. Plus, like what, 5 cars he parted his space of what, 1.5 laps? That could have gone any better for him. Now he's got 5 seconds of clean air to Bahrain. Now he can start making the charge. He's got the clean air, the engine's going to be perfectly fine. He just needs to look after the tyres and look after his driving style. His driving style is the key to see if he can get those medium tyres in somewhat fine condition to the end of the race.
Doran says pit window from hards to medium was 15, so Glock knocked only 2 laps off. He pitted lap 13, so he stretched those soft compound tyres at the beginning of a race 13 laps, which is very impressive. Also kept tabs with MDJ in the DRS, so I think Glock's strategy is good here. But all depends if when MDJ pits, how fast is he going to be on those soft compound tyres, because usually he would have pit by now to get rid of those hards, as Langfell's pitting then to get rid of his hard compound tyres, leaving Bahrain and Rogue Smithy fighting. In the background, bit of contact there between those two. In the background is Mercedes and Glock, whilst these two continue their scraps for P5 and P6 as Bahrain's ahead of Rogue Smithy. So that was very important, like you said, for Glock to clear that 5-car battle, because when he came out the pit lane, he was 5 seconds away from Smoke and instantly caught him up and overtook him immediately, which was very important for his race, because if he got stuck behind them or made contact with them, that was his race over. But now he's in clear air. The gap ahead is 3.4 between Rogue Smithy and Bahrain 2. He's got to use his medium compound tyres to advantage now and just push as hard as he can, try and build that gap. When MDJ comes out the pit lane, we'll see how big of a gap it is for him to catch towards the end of the race on those soft compound tyres.
So right now the top 2nd, 3rd and 4th, Harry Kane, Ramavach and Laser, they haven't really been fighting. They've just mostly been stuck in their DRS train, minding their own business. Compared to the midfield fight, who's been very scrappy, very battling, which is very nice to see. Glock is only, 2.2 seconds behind Rogue Smithy and Bahrain. Glock is absolutely flying at the moment. So let's see where this all shapes out. DJ is just about to come in the last corner. He's not pitting yet. Harry Kane and Ramavach and Nazer, when are they coming in for their stops? Yep, it's the other Alfa Romeo, Ramavach. He's coming in now from 3rd place. One of the top runners are coming in now.
The Alfa Romeo in the pit lane to cover off the undercut from Langfell. Both Alfa Romeos quite close together as Rogue Smithy has the DRS on Bahrain. In the background is Glock. The gap was 3.5 and that was gone down to 2 seconds at least, so he's gaining at a rate of knots. Is Glock in the Mercedes. In the background was Noldus, who's pitting, and he's covering the undercut threat from Martin in P12, so that's going to be very interesting to see where he sequences out. Obviously the track feeds into the pit lane exit, feeds into the track, so you can be very careful not to make contact, as I saw it in the last race where I raced at, a few drivers making contact and bumping each other off the road, as JDM is in the pit lane to put on a medium compound tyres. And let's see then, where's Langfell rejoined? He's in P9, Martin's in P10, and Noldus is P13, so he's rejoined quite a long way away from Martin despite being that DRS train. So that 2 laps has really helped Martin to pull away from Noldus in P13 and also Burmeister 2 in P11. That 1 or 2 lap difference makes a big difference. The undercut is really powerful. Here comes Glock on Rogue Smithy, but it's too far behind to make a move, and that's a driver I'm really cautious about. If I'm behind Rogue Smithy, I take it with all caution because he's quite unpredictable, and we'll see, because because MDJ's teammate is Rogue Smithy. But
Oh, he's going for it.
up the inside he goes to 13. Great move.
Very clean move. Fair play. Good breaks on the inside there.
I thought Rogue Smithy would make it harder for Glock, considering MDJ's his teammate, but it was quite easy. Now, Glock has got DRS at the back of Berimi. Laser is in the pit lane too.
Rogue Smith had a massive oversteer, and now he's going to the pits. Laser's coming to the pits to cover off Ramovage. Ramovage is coming through the final corner. This is going to be close between Ramovage and Laser here, coming out to the pits.
My biggest mistake, let's have a look, the Laser and Ramovage. As he comes down the main straight, there he is, the Alfa Romeo has jumped Laser and he puts himself up into P6 then. So Laser's rejoined the P7, but does have the 1 lap different tyres. And now he needs to get his tyres warmed up and ready. As Lord Danny Boy and Berimi still yet to pit in this race. So is Harry Kane in P2 and MDJ in P1. They're going on the soft compound tyres, whilst others went on the mediums. They're waiting a bit longer to go on the soft compound tyres to have the best tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix. Smart by Smithy to not fight him. Yeah, it was a D, but he lost a lot of time though because he's rejoined behind Martin. Yeah, Martin's jumped Smithy, but the gap, the tyre difference is 3 laps though, so that's a big tyre difference in terms of this game. And Rogue Smithy should overtake him later on in the race. And lap 19, lap 20 is when people would go into the pit lane to put on a set of softs. That was my biggest mistake on Sunday's race because I did 19 laps with a set of hard compound tyres as Ramovage gets through on Lord Danny Boy. I went 18-19 laps on the hard compound tyres and I put on the mediums because I didn't think the softs would go to the end. Even though it was a brand new set of softs, I just didn't trust the soft compound tyres. As MDJ is in the pit lane then, so we'll see what tyres he goes on to. It should be softs for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be softs before, so Glock will retake the lead of this race. Noel's 3-second time penalties for his multiple warnings. So let's see how far Noel's, well, not Noel's, but MDJ will be behind Glock. How far is he going to be behind? MDJ could be overtaken by the Alfa Romeo here of Ramovage here if he's not careful. He's exiting the pits now. It's going to be very close. This is going to be very close, but Ramovage just got him in the end. So Ramovage ahead of MDJ at this point in time, but the gap between Glock and MDJ is not that bad, to be fair. So Glock's going for the S's now in sector 2. This is where MDJ now will now start to make a massive charge to Glock.
The hunt is on between MDJ versus Glock towards the end of the Grand Prix. All eyes on them. Glock started on the soft compound tyres, went over to the medium, so he fully avoids the hard compound tyre, which is the most favoured tyre around here in Bahrain. And MDJ goes from hard to softs. So let's see then. MDJ, the hunt is on. We'll see him trying to gain a lot of time on Glock ahead of him.
Laser on the back of Lord Danny Boy as well. This is for position 6. And it should be a fine overtake for him. Yeah, Laser up into P6 now. He's now behind MDJ now, but MDJ is putting the pressure on Ramovage. And now MDJ needs to get past Ramovage very, very soon so he can start making the charge to Berimi, who's 6 seconds ahead. But Berimi is due for a stop. Also is Harry Kane.
Harry Kane's still not pitted, but yes, he is now. In the pit lane he goes. And he was fighting for P3 before this. So let's see then. Can he gain those positions back and that time back on those soft compound tyres to try and fight for P3 in this race? But here comes MDJ on Ramovage and he overtakes him for P3. Sorry, I had a bit of something stuck in my throat after a sip of water, so I went down the wrong hole and struggled to speak for the time being, but hopefully I can get it cleared up. But Ramovage pitted, he jumped MDJ. That's how huge the undercut was, because Ramovage was nowhere near MDJ in the first stint, but that undercut really helped him to get past him. But let's see if Ramovage can stay in DRS range of MDJ's tyres are not too old. Can he stay in DRS range and help him close towards Glock as well? We'll see. Can he tag him along to get up to the Mercedes driver? Oh,
so we've got loads of comments coming in at the moment. Well, what's up?
My apologies, it wasn't Harry Kane who pitted, it was his teammate Berimi. So Harry Kane stayed out there on the hard compound tyres still. How long is he leaving it? If he leaves it too late, he won't have those laps to catch up to fight for P3. I think he's got to call it now in this lap. He can't afford to stay out there too long. It was his teammate who pitted.
You just got loads of comments coming in. Recent one, Daniel, Energy Dan and Doran having a good little rant to each other. Love this comment from Doran. Did Smithy just show maturity? Daniel said, yes, mate, proud of him. Brilliant. Yeah, Rogue Smithy, He's played a very, very sensible race. He's not even gone into an incident today. This is a very changed road Smithy.
Yeah, I haven't seen him make contact with anybody, and it has been very clean, which he needs as well to show his resume.
Oh, and DJ, he is really pushing now as Harry Kane goes into the pits now. It's 7 seconds. Chase on. Here we go.
Same for Harry Kane as well on those soft compound tyres. There's Langfell in the background. Will he get ahead of him? Very crucial not to get behind him, which he does. He does cut the white line in the pit lane exit. I'm not quite sure if that's a problem or not, but if it is a problem, that's a huge consequence after the race because he's fighting for a podium as Bahrain on those soft compound tyres is ahead of Burmeister, and these three are still fighting for P9 as well. I think Bahrain will pull away from these guys with the freshness of those soft compound tyres, but stay tuned. We've got 8 laps left of racing. The fight for P1 and the fight for P3 is on. MDJ hunted down Glock for the end of the race. He's got 6.4 seconds ahead. Is Glock, and also the battle for P3 between Ramavaj or Laser and Harry Kane is on those soft compound tyres, 4.6 away from Laser 2. He's on those softs, where those two ahead of him are on the medium compound tyres. They're better tyres towards this stage, and no safety cars or no VSCs to interrupt this race. So my predictions and plans were actually quite working for this race too, considering I did a full race stint around here in Bahrain. So it's nice to have some knowledge over to the next race to give you all. But keep an eye on MDJ as well, closing the gap down lap by lap as well. And also let's not mention Ramavaj too. He's on the fresher tyres. He's still sticking in DRS range. So if he stays in DRS range, MDJ will drag Ramavaj up towards Glock. So he's got to watch out for him too in P3.
I'm about to say the same for myself. Yeah, Ramavaj is. It's now what? It's all you need to do. Stick behind MDJ. Do not even fight him. Use him as a tow truck. Because right now, it's 5.5 seconds now between second and first. It's looking very, very tasty. Ramavaj could steal P2. Laser can be in the fight, but he just needs to show a bit more pace. But right now, the main fight is for P1. And we've got a massive midfield scrap going on in the lower end positions. Lord Danny Boy overtakes Yagamel for P13. Lord Danny Boy's had a very good race today. He's chosen strong shows today. And yeah, it's actually been a very clean race today. As Atlas Scope gets past JDM. No, that's no the other way around actually. Atlas Scope gets past JDM. So yeah, so Atlas Scope goes into P16. 4.6 now is the gap between Glock and MDJ.
Yeah, the gap's closing down lap by lap. Are knots as well, but the tyre difference is about 6 laps between those two. So Glock could be in a bit of trouble towards the end of the Grand Prix. Will the Mercedes driver live to regret the day of going on the soft compound tyres? Because MDJ is going on the soft compound tyres towards the end of the race, while Glock used them at the start of the race. And it turns out the better strategy could be use them towards the end of the Grand Prix, because at the start of the Grand Prix, full fuel. I can't even speak now. I forgot what I was going to say. Full fuel. There we go. Full fuel towards the start of the Grand Prix. And obviously all the guys are scrapping away. Harry Kane sets the fastest lap of the race as he continues his pursuit towards Laser Lord and Ramavaj. The gap is 3.9.
Look at Smoke now. It's on the back of Martin. This is for P10.
And there he is, right behind the Mercedes driver, and he'll demote Martin again into P11. That's 3 times, or twice. Martin will finish in P11 this season. And that's not going to start. He wants to keep up either in that Mercedes. But Smoke is having his own little race down there in P10. Doing a great job so far. But gets a bad exit though. Might allow Martin to come back in with DRS. But not able to do so. As a medium traction control doesn't really help him coming out of turn 2 and turn 3. Because it's a bit delayed. But yeah, Ramavaj is still being towed by MDJ. Able to stick with the DRS despite MDJ being in soft compound tyres. So this is really helping Ramavaj to try and close down in P2. He knows not to fight MDJ. He doesn't have the battery either, but he knows not to fight him, because if he does, otherwise it'll delay his progress from getting P2 in this race with Glock. And EOS graphics should be off, boys. Flick onto momentarily, but don't keep it on. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry, it's a usual habit, because in other league races we always keep it on. We don't even touch it. But yeah, my apologies about that one. If you go on board with people, you can't really see their EOS status either, unless you're aboard with the Williams, because they've got their monitor a bit higher up than the others, with the EOS status a bit further down. But the gap is 3 seconds now, and 6 laps left to go. MDJ is in a good position to overtake Glock.
Yeah, Dan thinks it's going to be a photo finish in the end. It is going to be very close. So look at this. We've got Berimi closing on Rogue Smithy. This is for P6. This is for very close now. Berimi down the other side of the turn one. Gets the move finish. Good move there for Berimi as they both chase it down Langfell for P5. So this is still turn. Well, this is for P6 actually. So this is for 7th and 8th at the moment. But this is about for 6 between 3 drivers.
Bearing me into P7, his next target is Langfell, is also on the on the medium compound tyres too, and I think that's all Bearing we could get. So Hurricane has caught up to Laser, but the problem is for Hurricane, Ramavaj is being towed by MDJ. So actually, Ramavaj could be saved by being towed by MDJ because it was predicted that Hurricane will get to P3, but ever since MDJ overtook Ramavaj, he's been able to stick into the DRS and pull away from Laser. And the chance of Hurricane's podium might be getting slimmer and slimmer now because Ramavaj is able to stick in the DRS of him. And Remi's up into P6 ahead of Langfell into P7. Still a good race regardless from Langfell and Rogue Smithy. It's a very clean race from Rogue Smithy, but it's all been about strategy today from what is the right tyres to go on. And Hurricane is right behind Laser Lord, so we're shaping him up to overtake him down the inside into 1. It is lap 26 out of 29. Here comes Hurricane. And he puts himself up into 4th place. Lap 25 out of 29, sorry. The gap is 2.2 with 4 laps left to go. It's MDJ's to win, I think.
Yeah, it depends on how hard he's pushing on the tyres. Well, here goes Rogue Smithy now. Go down the inside of the Alfa Romeo. Oh, that's very late braking there from the both of them. But if Rogue Smithy just gets ahead, yes. P7 for Rogue Smithy. And Martin's retired of the pits. Oh, that's a bit of a shame.
Oh, our first retirement in this race, and it is Martin. I'm not quite sure why he's done that, but I want to talk about Dragon because we haven't mentioned him since lap 1. And here comes Nodus still fighting for P10 throughout the whole race. Up into P10 he goes in the Aston Martin, and been lagging throughout the whole race too. But I want to mention Dragon because he had to make 2 pit stops in the space of 2 laps. Lost him a lot of time. 22 laps of the hard compound tyres. He pitted onto the hards again after he started them to get rid of the medium compound tyres, and he's done a really good job so far. Even though he's down in P18, he suffered a bit of front wing damage and still continuing this race despite being so far back. Same with Jerry Oro class 2, and these two here showing their commitment of staying in the race despite things getting a bit. Yeah, Mackett has been in this session. I didn't even know he was joining this race either.
So 1.7 out is the gap now. 3 laps to go. It's getting very close now. 1.6 is the gap. There's Glock. There's MDJ. There's Ramavaj. Can MDJ finally get that race win after what? 9? This is on round 9 now. So after 8 rounds, MDJ's leading the championship with no victory. Can they get that elusive win tonight?
And Glock, he's only had 1 win as well in the past few seasons, and he's been looking for a first race win too. But despite being on the soft compound tyres, he's doing a great job so far. But unfortunately, he'll be hunted down by MDJ and those soft compound tyres. MDJ can see his rival in front of him, with Ramavaj also being in P3. Hurricane's 4.5 away from Ramavaj, and these guys are fighting the first in, but Ramavaj has played it tactically as well by sticking within MDJ's DRS, having the pace to keep up with that Williams driver to make sure he defends his P3 position from Hurricane, and also gain another position in P2 if Glock's tyres decide to drop off as well. But Glock's under massive pressure. You can see the flashing light at the back of the car indicating he's got no ERS at all, and MDJ is in a prime position to overtake him too in P2. It's going to be a lap 27 out of 29, 2 laps left to go. The gap is 1.4 seconds between those guys, and Bearim is not really pulled away either from Rogue Smithy. Rogue Smithy and Langfell are still in the DRS range. This is what helps around this track with 3 DRS zones around here. You used to have 2 DRS zones around here, which was the first and middle sector, but the added one in 2018, I believe. It's from turn 3 to turn 4, and these 3 DRS zones have really helped to keep these guys in close contention and fighting. There it is. The gap is 1.2. 2 laps left to go. It's going to be very hard for Glock to hold on. Draugr has pitted to a brand new set of softs to go for the fastest lap of the race too, and he's gone out wide of turn 1 to get out of the way for people and got into the grass too, so I won't help his tyres whatsoever. Probably outbraked himself too by came out the pit lane. But the gap is 1 second now between Glock and MDJ. They had a great fight back in the Austrian Grand Prix last season. Every time they came on track together, they've always had a good scrap around. And here we are then, the top two of the championship, going at it again.
Yeah, but and also if it comes to strategy, if you come to I'm pretty much a numbers person. If you come down to tyre life, if you've got to give it to Ramavaj to give the tyre life to, because he's on the medium compound tyres. Gloucester does the end, and DJ is almost at the is just about hitting the end stage. Ramavaj is on the freshest compound tyre, so right now Ramavaj has got the advantage of tyre life, but on speed alone, MDJ and Glock and Ramavaj are so equal. This is going to turn a very, very close finish.
MDJ is finally in the DRS range, or not. He's been dropped out of it, but he's in it again. And they're all derating in the straight. You don't even need to check their ERS either. They're all derating on this short back straight here. But as we head round the final corner then, MDJ was in DRS range of Glock. And I think he'll wait for the last lap to overtake him too. I don't think he's got, yes he has DRS. He opened it now with Ramavaj in P3. In the background is Hurricane hunted down Ramavaj, and as you can see there, MDJ get about 4/10 as well on the DRS itself, so that's how powerful it is around here. But Hurricane's podium chances are getting slimmer and slimmer now. He thought he'd get P3 by pitting the soft compound tyres and hunting down Laser and Ramavaj, but Ramavaj's pace has been substantial in this race and efficient as well to keep him at bay from Hurricane. But he is dropping outside the 1 second range of DRS. He's currently 9/10 away. But thanks to the help of the pace he had, keeping up with MDJ, I don't think Hurricane will get him in the latter stages. And he might drop away from this battle too, now MDJ has DRS, being on left and lap on medium compound tyres. Glock though, ooh, it's going to be so close towards the end of the Grand Prix. It'll be a last lap overtake for sure between MDJ and Glock, and I can't wait to see who gets their first win of the season. Will it be Glock? Will it be MDJ? Ramavaj has already got a win this season in the Hungarian Grand Prix. But these two, the top two in the championship, searching for their first win, who is going to get it? They both start on different strategies, but we'll see which strategy is better towards the end of the Grand Prix. They meet up on the penultimate lap of this race, but Glock's decision to do soft compound tyres earlier on, will he regret it? MDJ from hards to softs, having the better tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix, catching his rival. Look at that. Are any DRS games going to be played here? Will Glock chicken out of the DRS? No, he won't. He'll continue, but it'll be very difficult for Glock to defend this with MDJ right at his tail. Glock's going to have to weave like crazy to prevent the Williams overtaking him. It's the last lap of the Grand Prix. Glock is leading, but here comes MDJ up against the wall.
My word, that was close.
And MDJ takes the lead of the race ahead of Glock. Glock will have the DRS, but will he have the battery power to overtake him on the second straight? No, he won't. He's too far back. Rose Smithy is ahead of Bahrain, and he puts the Williams into P6. It's been a quiet, clean race from Rose Smithy in P6, and that's what Williams need in the Constructors' Championship to get ahead of AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri haven't had a good race this race, so it'll cast the order.
Glock with a massive dive bomb on MDJ for the race lead.
Didn't quite work out though because Glock is still far behind. Now he switches to the inside line. MDJ covers the inside line. Bit of contact too as they board each other. Look at Ramavaj. He's overtaken MDJ. Glock is not willing to give up. He's defending the inside line. He's very aggressive with Glock. And MDJ is now down into P3. Could that be a penalty for Glock there? Because he did force his way up the inside and barge him out of the way. And that could be very controversial towards the end of the Grand Prix too. But the thing is though, if MDJ wants to appeal this, he still has to get past Ramavaj, because if Glock gets a penalty, Ramavaj will win this Grand Prix. So the victory could go towards Ramavaj. And look at this then, how things turned out in the last lap of the Grand Prix. More controversy, more drama. Ramavaj is defending. MDJ will be absolutely furious with that, being barged out of the way. And here we are coming towards the last corner of the Grand Prix. Glock will win the Bahrain Grand Prix with Ramavaj in P2, but I think Ramavaj will win the Grand Prix if MDJ reports it.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What an ending to that race. Glock was super defensive at the end. And this is the final lap. Roguesmith just misses out to Bahrain. But well done to Roguesmith for keeping it clean tonight. And good points from Williams into the Constructors' Championship. What a cracking race at the end. That is unbelievable.
A great race, but an unfortunate
controversy.
Ending.
Yeah.
A great race, but unfortunate ending, like Dorman says. And here are the rest of the guys. Noldus finishes in P12, Yagamal 13th, Atlas in 14th, ahead of Xenom, JDM in 16th place, ahead of Jerry Oreo Glass. There he is. in the Alpine, but I need to know if, yes he did, Dragon got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's already finished this race, he had a front row seat because he was a lap car, and he caught up to quite quickly as well, despite the contact between the top three. So, I think the victory will go towards Ramovaj now, because if MDJ reports Glock, Ramovaj will finish in first place. So that could really help him.
Yeah, exactly. So that is unreal. Literally, I've never seen that. So literally, Glock. Okay, the first part of Glock on the main straight, that's fair. You can weave just a little bit. You can drive. You can have the unnecessary space going into the wall. I get that. That's fair. But the second sector, oh my word, I don't know if that is legal or not. So Glock went for the dive bomb into the hairpin. That didn't work. And then then into turn 10, got absolutely sent on MDJ, and well, then the controversy happens. So it's all down to the stewards now to see what happens to this. There's going to be a few discussions tonight during the S15 stewards, which will be very interesting indeed. But there's the podium. Ramovaj could be waiting in the wings for that P1, I guess.
Ramovaj, who was in no position at all during this whole race to win, he might have found himself winning post-race penalties, and that really helps him on his return, because he had 4 DNSs did not start, 4 DNSs in a row on his return to Bahrain. Despite being not in contention to win in the top 2 throughout the whole race, he could win this on his return here in Bahrain tonight. Lots of fireworks going off in the background. There'll be fireworks off in the paddock between Glock and MDJ. Was Glock over aggressive? And MDJ, if he does join the party, will be one furious Dutchman indeed. And we'll see what he has to say. I hope he says it quickly, because I need the toilet again after drinking a lot of water. But we'll get the top 2 or the top 3 in. I don't know if Glock has a mic or not, but I'd love to hear his thoughts on what was going on in the Grand Prix. So we'll get MDJ. If he will join, he might be very angry at this point, which is understandable because he's lost the Grand Prix. How the dive bomb, was it a clean dive bomb? Because I didn't really see the whole of it.
Yeah, so basically, I don't know how you started, but basically the dive bomb started going into after the S section. Then went for a move down on the inside of MDJ. It didn't really work. They made contact, and then at the end of that section, you saw the contact at turn 9 and 10. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to find out what the result is going to be at the end of this, going into Saudi Arabia next week. So yeah, it's one of those, really, really one of those. But congratulations to the top 3, whatever that order that may be. But as provisional for now, Glock is the race winner for Mercedes. But good result for Williams in the Constructors' Championship with MDJ on the podium and Rogue Smith finishing P7. So that's a very good result for Williams for the Constructors' Championship.
Well, it is, but I've also got to point out there'll be no podium interviews because the 3 drivers, 2 of them don't have a mic, and 1 of them is very angry, as you can tell.
What?
Which
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I want to be very angry in that sort of situation. I just want to say, no, you're right for an interview. I'm just going to throw my toys out of the pram here. But Glock has said in global chat, he said, let the stewards decide if appealed, but I didn't go over the line. You cannot move under brake in reaction to another car, then expect them to vanish. So that's Glock's defensive side of the story. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that turns out. Saudi Arabia next week. I can't wait for Saudi next week now for Division 1. Let's see what happens.
MDJ and potentially Glock will have to wait another race or 2 to get their first victory, because I don't think Glock will keep this victory. Maybe if MDJ did move on a break-in at turn 9 and turn 10, because a very late move could force Glock to go off the track and make contact with him, and therefore allow Ramovaj to come through. It could have been a late move of MDJ, but we'll see if the stewards will decide whether who gets a penalty or not. Maybe not get a penalty for Glock. They think it's just a normal racing incident, or it was fair enough. That I'm not quite sure how to word it for this without upsetting either of the 2. But let's just keep it at that. And congrats on Glock for winning for the time being. Next week, I could be saying last week's race winner was Ramavaj. We'll see. But we move on to Saudi Arabia next Tuesday, and also Saudi Arabia this weekend too. Could it be another Verstappen victory? And
Yep. There's no way for it. Yep.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Join us back at the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix next week. Are you sure it's Saudi Arabia? Because when I checked the calendar, I thought it said. Do you know
No,
what? I
it's Saudi
forgot.
Arabia. Yeah, first two races as far as Saudi, then we'll be off to Australia. So,
I talk about SFR.
yes, Saudi is next week. Yeah, Saudi next week, and then it's Mexico.
Oh yeah, it is. I was looking at the wrong part of the calendar. Yeah, it is Saudi Arabia next week. So join us back for Saudi Arabia next week on Tuesday. But enjoy this weekend's Grand Prix in Jeddah. I'll also talk about Saudi Arabia. They talk about building a new track somewhere in that country. And let's just say Turn 1 is very controversial. If most of you know what I'm talking about. But for now, goodbye.